All right, welcome everybody. So the more I thought about it, I decided let's go ahead and turn this thing into dual deploy. I've had a bit of time because here out in Arizona, we've had so many fire restrictions for months and months that we haven't gotten to launch anything in a while. We're finally back this fall. We're going to be launching again soon. But before then, I was like, originally I thought about launching this as a single deploy, and I have a cool setup on the previous video where it's convertible from single to double and back pretty easily. But I'm going to go ahead and finish the construction for dual deploy and hope you enjoy. Today we're going to be drilling the shear pin holes are up here, okay? And so those are going to be going on either side here, just two of them. And then we're also going to be taking these rivets, okay, which aren't meant to shear, and we're going to be putting them in this part of the body, the payload bay, as it connects to the AV bay. That way, that part doesn't separate and we just throw our AV bay into the desert. So bear with me. After all of this paint work, I'm going to start drilling some holes. We'll see how this goes. With these other things, you'll see that I have a bunch of things set up to put us into dual deploy, okay? Like I said, today we're just gonna be tapping some holes and putting in some pins and rivets. But beyond that, I've got things to put in down here. I'm gonna swap out the big parachute that's in here for single deploy. I'm gonna swap it out for a drogue chute, which all that's in here. Then I have another Kevlar line we're gonna put up here and put our main chute up here. And I've got to swap out some bolts and things. We also have over here electronics and switches. There's only one part of that I'll really need, but we have to find out some spacing issues. How much space do we really have on top of the AV bay to fit the wire connector and these little cups, these little ejection charge cups. So. And this here is a tap. And what we're going to do is we're going to screw tap this so that the shear pins actually stick well. All right, so now what we're gonna do is see that itty bitty pin right there, that 2x56 1/4 inch pin. We're gonna take that shear pin, it's nylon and it's got some threads, okay? And we're gonna, now that we've threaded our holes, we're gonna put it in there, okay? Just to make sure it fits. Here's to hoping, right? See our hole right there? Let's see if it fits. Let's get started nicely. Oh, it seems to fit real nicely. There we go. Oh, look at that. Nice. There we go. And now we know it works. All right, now we're gonna be making our holes for our rivets. That way this tube stays attached to our payload bay in dual deploy. So let's get drilling. We're going with 3 of these as opposed to the 2 shear pins up top. Okay, so 3, and I tried to space them equidistant apart, but also there it is. Okay. Now the next one. All right, so as you can see, I've separated this nose cone, and you can see the nut that I installed in there. It's a long nut, and it's epoxied in there. This center rod goes all the way down through the AV bay here, okay, and connects into the top of that. And you can see here, that comes out like that. So that's the single deploy setup that keeps the whole top part together, okay? Now when I make a dual deploy, I take this part out and I'm going to actually install in here a big O-ring, and then the same thing down here, and then I'll install our wire, and we're gonna put right here, I'm gonna see how much I can fit in here, definitely 1 set of a charge well for black powder, a hole to put the wires through, and a switch over here, okay? If I can manage to fit 2, I'll try to do that just to have a backup, but if not, it might just be what it is. All right? Okay, so what we have here is, you can see this is the top part of our AV bay. We have 1 charge well and another charge well, okay? Now really, I could put 1 here,
And then I have my switch, well, it's like a connector for the wires there, okay? However, I actually am toying with the idea. I like the idea of having a backup charge, and so I'm considering actually doing this and this on this side, drilling a hole here and here, okay? And then on the reverse side, having one of these here and one of these here, okay? That way, I can always have a backup and basically connect the wires here and then route through a hole up on this side. I think that's what I'll do, plus it'll protect these a little more from the ejection charge itself. Alright, so now we've got our holes right there and right there for the wires. I'm going to put a charge well here and a charge well here. On the reverse side, switch here, switch here. Alright, let's go ahead and mix some epoxy. More than enough. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to take a little bit for our epoxy here on the underside. I got to be careful not to get it on that center nut. Actually, better yet, what I'll do is I will there's one. Okay. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put one scrape some of that off the bottom. So none where I don't want it to be. That's key. Now let's go ahead and on this side similar. I'm going to wipe some of this off. And I'm going to very carefully none where I don't want it to be. All right, so what we have here is we've pretty much gotten almost to the finish line with converting this rocket from single to dual deploy. The one that I had made to be convertible back and forth. And you'll see here a continuation from what we had. This part now has these wells on the top of the AV bay with the holes for the wiring to come up and go in. And the ports are underneath, little electronic ports. And this part here is going to slide right over top of it, like so, okay, before we put in our rivets. And this, what I did was I swapped out the big parachute, which was in the bottom section here. Now I have placed a small drogue chute in the bottom, okay, which you can start to see there, okay, and this is now all just relined, and I put some swivels on there too, so the twisting parachute won't get all tied up in itself, okay? It's got a little bit further to fall than I'm used to having them fall. This top link is going to go inside here, okay? And this bottom link is just going to attach right on this eye bolt here. All right, the very last thing we're gonna do, this thing is just about complete. The only thing that I haven't done at this point, and it's not gonna be a part of this video, is doing some of the wiring up. So I already have a Blue Raven altimeter, I have a GPS system, all of that with LiPo batteries and what all. However, that AV bay is in another rocket right now, and when I'm ready, I'll do a video converting it to here. And I have some wires here that I'll go ahead and use to connect those altimeters and batteries up to the splitter, and then another wire for the e-matches that go into the charge wells. I'll do that wiring video at the same time that I do our dual deploy test in a local park here. So it'll be fun, a little black powder blast in a park, and hopefully no one complains. But anyway, until then, what we'll do is we're just gonna link it all up. We have, again, our little shear pins. That's up for the top here, 2 of them. And then we have 3 rivets that aren't supposed to break. And these go down here to make sure that this top tube of the body doesn't completely come off and get lost in the process and whatnot. So, all right. Okay, so what we have here, you can see we've got shear pin and shear pin right there. That makes sure this isn't going to come out. And then over here we have rivet, and a rivet right there, all secure. So this thing is all good to go, other than just wiring things up and getting AV bay ready. So next time you see us, we'll be testing our black powder charge. Have fun, y'all.